Hello everyone, this is Goosebumps Godzilla, and today I'm going to be talking about two very iconic Goosebumps books. Chicken Chicken, which I believe is the 53rd Goosebumps book in the series, and also the third Goosebumps book in the original series, Monster Blood, and how two witches, which have appeared in both Monster Blood and Chicken Chicken, are actually the same. And so in Chicken Chicken, that witch that I'm talking about is Vanessa, and the witch that I'm talking about in Monster Blood is the main protagonist's aunt, Kathryn. So before I continue though, spoiler alert for obviously Chicken Chicken and Monster Blood, but I believe that is pretty much it, guys. So without further ado, let's get into the theory. So before I, talk about the theory and the evidence to explain all this, I kind of want to give you guys just a short background on both Vanessa and Aunt Kathryn from the original Monster Blood book. So let's just start off with that. So first, let's talk about Aunt Kathryn. So in Monster Blood 1, our main protagonist, whose name is Evan Ross, goes to visit his aunt. And so, really, it seems like his aunt doesn't like him that much. It's never said, I don't think, outright, but it doesn't seem like the aunt likes Evan that much. But basically, he's spending a little time at his aunt's place and making friends, all that stuff. And also, there's this crazy cat that Aunt Kathryn owns that will come to use later on in the story, but really the cat's just staying around doing nothing really throughout the book, so it's not really that much you should pay attention to until the end. But basically, the main protagonist buys this can of green goo called Monster Blood, and so then his aunt casts a spell on this Monster Blood can. Because originally it was just a normal toy. This is kind of corrected in the later books, but in this book itself, it's just this normal toy, but due to Aunt Kathryn being a witch, she enchanted the Monster Blood, and it caused the Monster Blood to go bad and start trying to kill the main protagonist in a way. And so, all this crazy stuff's going on. Basically, in the end, it is revealed that Aunt Kathryn did put a spell on the Monster Blood, but it was because she was under the influence of her cat, who turns out to be a human witch named Sarah Beth. And so basically, kind of gives us a backstory on Aunt Kathryn's character. So Aunt Kathryn pretty much was this witch person, but then, that cat, Sarah Beth, basically put a spell on her, or sort of, she wanted her to be her slave. And so she turned herself, Sarah Beth turned herself into a cat and made that person become her slave for, I think, 20 years or so. But then Evan came along and Sarah Beth wanted to kill Evan or something like that. And so she made Aunt Kathryn put a spell in the Monster Blood to kill Evan. And so then after that, there's a conclusion, and not Aunt Kathryn, but the cat's name. I just forgot her name. I'm so sorry, guys. Sarah Beth, that's it. So Sarah Beth was defeated using the Monster Blood, and that's pretty much how the book ends. It was a pretty good book overall. Probably the worst in the Monster Blood series, but I really love the Monster Blood book, so that's not really saying to the quality of the book itself. But basically, that's all the backstory for Aunt Kathryn. Important things you should remember is that she doesn't seem to like children, since she particularly doesn't like Evan. This could be all a little trick or something like that, or she's just miserable because she's under a witch's control. But also, she likes to enchant and kill people with weird objects like Monster Blood, and just a bunch of stuff like that. But with Aunt Kathryn out, let's go to our other witch, which is Vanessa from Chicken Chicken. So basically, Vanessa is not really given that much backstory, but pretty much she lives in this small Ohio farm town, sort of, And one important thing you need to know is that she does own a black cat, just like Aunt Kathryn. That's going to be used as evidence later. But basically, she lives in this small Ohio town, and all the children there, or most of the people there, actually believe she is a witch due to her acting very strangely. All she wears is black. And you know, she's just a very strange person there, and so the children constantly pull pranks on her and start telling stories about how she murdered a child and stuff like that, which may or may not be true. They don't say so outright if their story is true, but it could possibly be true, because at one point in the story, one of the kids does tell, you know, a story about this kid who's, I think, pranking or something like that, Vanessa, and she basically blew up his head. And so, you know, that's pretty brutal for Vanessa. And so, everyone, it's not really confirmed if this is true or false, but if this is true, then, you know, she's kinda pretty much evil, you could say. And so basically, in the book, the main protagonist and the main protagonist's brother, I think the main protagonist's name is Crystal and her brother's name is Cole. Basically, they accidentally bump into her when Vanessa was carrying groceries. And so this causes Vanessa to be angry with them, so she chants the words, "chicken, chicken." And this would later cause them to turn into actual chickens. And, you know, as you can probably tell from the cover, that's mainly the plot of the book. But basically, the main protagonist and the main protagonist's brother go to Vanessa's house in order to ask for her to get rid of the spell. And also, during this time, it is revealed that the whole reason Vanessa turned them into chickens was because they were not mannerable. That was Vanessa's main goal throughout the book, was because they weren't mannerable, so she ruined their lives and possibly murdered a child earlier on in the book off the screen, not off screen, but you know, before the events of the book, she could have possibly murdered a kid and ruined 2 other kids' lives just because they were impolite. I mean, that's a little harsh. That's one of my biggest complaints with the book. I actually kind of like Chicken Chicken. I think it's a pretty good book. Honestly, there was a few parts that actually kind of scared me. But that one part of the book, really, I did not like, because it's not that strong character motivation for her to just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna ruin these 3 kids' lives just because they weren't respectful, so, you know, that's it. I just do not really see that happening. And so, I think that there has to be a stronger motivation involved with this. Another thing that I'm gonna be using as evidence later. But basically, Crystal and her brother basically, I wouldn't say trick, but they, you know, make Vanessa turn them back into normal humans before they do another impolite action when Vanessa says the words pig, pig, possibly meaning that they're going to be turning into pigs. So those are the 2 characters, Vanessa and Aunt Kathryn. So let's take a look at the similarities between the 2 characters and possible evidence that these 2 are the same. So outright, we have personality things that are very similar. Both do not seem to really enjoy the company of children. You can see Aunt Kathryn, she really doesn't seem to like Evan that much. You can just kind of tell from the book. She doesn't really like him, and you can kind of see this with Vanessa. She's not, you know, a big fan of children since, you know, they constantly pull pranks on her and stuff like that. So both of them share that one thing in common, that they both do not like children. They both, you know, they both have black cats. One is a witch, guaranteed, but I think that black cat that she has in Chicken Chicken is Sarah Beth, since they're most likely the same person. So you can kind of see the thing with they don't like children, and all of that stuff. Also, they actually have the same hair color. I know that's not, oh my gosh, that's huge pieces of evidence, but it's a, you know, slight evidence. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but it's still a piece of evidence. Also, further evidence to prove this is through the spells that they cast. If you take a look at the Monster Blood TV episode, the Aunt Kathryn turned Sarah Beth into a cat with her own magic. And that kind of makes more sense than how it says in the book. I don't think it says outright that Aunt Kathryn did turn, not Vanessa, but Sarah Beth. There's so many weird names that I'm talking about today, like Kathryn, Sarah Beth, and Vanessa. I keep getting confused. So sorry if I accidentally say the wrong name of the right witch or something like that. So, anyways, they both cast similar spells because in the TV episode, Aunt Kathryn did turn Sarah Beth into a cat. While this isn't canon, it doesn't seem like in the book universe, it could possibly be true because why would Sarah Beth turn herself into a cat? She's basically got this other wizard under control. Why wouldn't she turn into a cat? Why not a fish or something like that? Anything she could turn into, but she turns into a cat for some weird reason. Why? Why not turn maybe Aunt Kathryn into a cat? There's that. And so, I think possibly in the book universe, I don't know if this will ever be confirmed, but I think possibly that, Sarah Beth was turned into a cat by Aunt Kathryn. And this is a similar spell to what happens in Chicken Chicken, because Vanessa uses the spell Chicken Chicken, which turns the children into chickens. And here's the evidence about the character motivation. You take a look at Vanessa from Chicken Chicken. The reason she ruins 2 kids' lives and turns them into chicken and lets them possibly be killed by her cat is because they weren't polite. That is the worst character motivation I have seen for any Goosebumps monster. And so I think that possibly the real reason she did this was because she was under the influence of Sarah Beth from the Monster Blood books. Because, just think about it. It makes a lot of sense. Because, it's really not that strong character motivation to ruin 2 kids' lives and downright murder pretty much this other kid supposedly just because they weren't well behaved, because that really doesn't sound right in any ways. And if she was under the influence though of Sarah Beth, like Sarah Beth forced her to do it because she was in fear for her life or something like that, that would make a whole lot more sense for Vanessa's character motivation if she was Aunt Kathryn. And so that's pretty much all my evidence that I have for you guys today. This one was a shorter video, I would say, but I hope you guys enjoyed nevertheless, and comment down below what you guys think about this theory. Do you think Aunt Kathryn is Sarah Beth? I mean, not Aunt Kathryn, Sarah Beth. That Aunt Kathryn is Vanessa? If you do, if you don't, tell me what you guys think, in the comment section below. And so, yeah, that's pretty much the end of my video. I just want to list over the evidence for this theory real fast, just to outline everything, just in case you didn't pay attention to everything. So, evidence for this, they both have the same personality. It seems like both of them have black cats that try to murder the main protagonist, actually. And both of them seem to have the power to transform other people into animals. And this would explain the plot hole of Vanessa's character motivation. And also, both of them have the same color hair, which isn't huge evidence again, but it's still evidence. But that's the end of my video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and that is the end of my theory.